about me and you, and I think to myself,
Hi guys, how's it going?
Hello. How's it going, everyone?
I was actually thinking, last last week we talked about this a lot, how everything just starts and ends and begins with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about this, and I started introspecting a little bit, um,
Yes.
and it reminded me of this like this, just this past thing that used to happen to me, and it still
Yeah.
happens to me, but I started thinking about how really I was creating my own reality. Like it was
Mhm.
actually just everything just starts and ends and begins with me.
Yes.
Um so th- i this was like I think I actually didn't mention this last episode, but I used to be a very, very lonely teenager, like in high
Mm.
school.
Yeah.
And which is why I was really low all the time in high school. And it wasn't like
Yeah.
I didn't have any friends, or I was bullied, or I was an outcast. I actually had a lot of friends, and I everyone loved me. I had amazing friends. I was constantly going around, constantly at parties, hanging out with friends. That was never a problem,
Yeah.
being alone was never the problem. But I still somehow felt lonely constantly.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that, and I was trying to figure out why that was. And I did have this realization quite a while ago, but I was just trying to recall that.
Yeah.
Um, but I think I've always been like a very independent person. That's just always been a part of my personality.
Mm-hmm.
So I think back then, and even still now, something used to trigger me,
Okay.
whether it was someone saying something to me and me taking it like too much at heart, and
Yeah.
being like, oh, you know what, like I don't need people, I'm better off alone. Or like maybe seeing like two people hanging out without me and just being like, you know what, like fuck this, I'm better off alone, like who needs them, I don't need to be relying on people or whatever.
Uh-huh.
These small things that probably people didn't even mean in a harsh way
Yeah.
were getting like super amplified in my head.
Yeah.
And so this was like these things were causing me to feel lonely for some reason,
Okay.
because that wasn't my reality.
Yeah.
But soon I started to realize that I was making it my reality by
Yes.
like seeing that, oh, okay, you know what, they don't want to hang out with me anyway, and I feel lonely all the time, so I'm just
Mm-hmm.
not gonna go to this party, and I'm just not gonna go for this scene, or I'm not gonna hang out with them, or I'll just stand in
Yeah.
a corner by myself. I was actually just secluding myself.
Which is
So
also called being a teenager. I mean, I it's like you're a
could
brooding
be.
teenager. Sometimes that happens. We
Yeah.
all go through the growing pains.
Yeah. So it just like really made me think that actually all of this stuff that we are feeling outside is actually coming from within us. We're just projecting something within us, and we ourselves has have that much power to create our realities, and it
Absolutely.
still happens to me sometimes. I was like you said last episode, I moved back from New York, and
Mm.
I had like one really close friend. Um, and I guess like a couple times she was hanging out with someone else.
Yeah.
So, and I like caught myself being like, oh man, I'm too like dependent on this person, like
Mm.
because I constantly want to hang out with her. So I was like, you know what, I'm just not gonna hang out with her or anyone. Like fuck this. But
Yeah.
I realized like I was secluding myself. So I had
Yes.
to check myself in that moment.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, this just made me think of that. Like we have the power to everything that we're feeling because of ourselves.
Yeah. And just to touch on that topic, when you're saying that we're feeling it, like if, for example, you were saying that you were with a group of friends, but you were still feeling lonely. So, exactly what is being lonely in a group of friends? You're feeling disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere or the other you're feeling disconnected, not wanted, or whatever it is, however it kind of transpires to be. And when that happens, you're right, we from our state, our mental state, our feelings, our situation, are projecting this. There's so many times I've experienced that's not what's going on in their head. Or when
Yeah.
somebody has accused me of doing this, excluding them or doing this, or doing something of that nature, especially when are in our 20s and teens, and we're partying a lot more group activity happening. A lot of these things tend to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to kind of understand that, you're absolutely right. We are creating it. We are choosing to look at it from that angle, right? Like, it's like, oh, like, okay, fine. Like, if you want to hang out with her and not with me, then so be
Fuck
it,
you, you know.
Yeah.
And then
Inside,
you're the one causing the rift and everything. So
exactly.
all these feelings come from within us.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just crazy how much power our feelings have. And
Yes, our feelings are the fuel to us, I would say.
yeah,
They fuel us.
yeah,
So, yeah, we better be running on some nice high octane fuel instead of some nasty burning fuel.
yeah.
So,
What are these
what
like? Okay, yeah.
what are these feelings? Let's explore that. Like when we talk about feelings, let's just kind of simplify it in good feelings and bad feelings that put a smile on your face and feelings that put a frown on your face. So what are some of the good feelings that we're talking about? We're talking about these feelings don't have to be larger than life. It could be something very
Small
small,
things.
something very cute, like when
When I walk up to my fridge after my lunch and I pull out my bite of ice cream, my favorite
Yes.
part of the day. I'm just like, okay, I deserve this.
See, deserve judgment. Yeah, or when you the good feeling that you feel after a workout, or when somebody does something nice to you or says something nice to you, you feel good. Sometimes you don't even allow yourself to feel that feeling also of taking a compliment.
Yeah,
So it could be something, when a boy flirts with you, I'm sure, Ashna, you get all flushed in the face and all. I
maybe.
know my husband still flirts with me sometimes. I'm like, ooh, that feels
Oh,
good,
stop.
Oh, after so many years, yay. So it totally depends. It could be joy, it could be feeling of togetherness, it's sometimes feeling empathy. When you feel
Helping
someone's
others, yeah.
pain, yeah, your friend or your sister, family member, somebody's going through something and you feel for them. So we are feeling
Huge spectrum
beings.
of good feelings
Yeah.
to have, yeah.
Yeah, doing something for someone, helping someone, that makes you only feel good at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day. So that really
Then on the
matters.
opposite end, there's those really shitty feelings.
Hmm.
Really shitty feelings.
Hmm.
Anger, so much anger,
Anger.
frustration, irritation, being stuck. We both know what it's like being stuck in the house
Stuff.
with the same people.
Everybody knows. Everybody
Everybody
knows at
knows.
this point.
Yeah, everybody knows what it's like. And you're just like, oh my God, someone get me out right now. Sorry, love you
Yeah.
guys, love you, fam.
Yeah, love you, but yeah, the anxiety, a lot of people are feeling anxiety, a lot of people feel shame, envy, guilt, all these
Hmm.
feelings, the negative ones, they really bog you down. They
Really bog you
have a
down.
sensation in them. They kind of like occupy the space in your body, mind, consciousness, and they feel heavy. They
Hmm.
constantly have a thing about feeling heavy. So yeah, so here we have our good feelings and our not so good
Bad
feelings,
feelings.
bad feelings. Yeah.
What are these feelings? I mean, why are we feeling them? Why do we, what, how do they
What are
affect us?
feelings? Yeah.
What
Let's
are
explore
feelings?
what are feelings. Yeah. What are feelings? Feelings are.
I think they're like, if you really think about it, everything
Mm,
in this world,
mm,
everything in this universe is made out of energy, right?
energy. Yes.
We are people who are made out of energy, and
Yes.
emotions and feelings carry energy too, right? There's like, we've
Absolutely.
all heard the saying that you're like, yeah, I'm not getting a good energy from this guy, or like, I
Yeah.
felt
Good
so nice.
vibe.
Yeah, you made me feel so nice, or like, I'm getting like
Yeah.
positive vibes from you. So
Yeah.
feelings carry energy,
Yeah.
and because they are energy, they're all it's all
Mm,
made out of energy.
mm.
And like I said, we are people who are made out of energy.
Yes.
So when we are feeling these feelings, we are kind of feeling these feelings.
Feel the feeling.
We are kind of taking in this energy inside us, right? Yeah, at the end of the day, emotions and feelings are just energy.
Energy.
And
Yeah.
so when we consume them and they come into us, they're impacting us in some way. But they make us who we are. They
Yes.
really make us who we are. From a day to day, it's like we feel like a spectrum of emotions, right?
Yes.
And it's just kind of, when you start to really see what you're feeling, it really helps you put yourself on like a barometer or like a
Yeah.
scale of how you're doing that day. They'd really
Yeah.
help you judge your own self.
Observe.
Not judge. I took that back. The minute I said it, I was like, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Observe yourself, place
Yeah.
yourself, so
Yeah.
you can act accordingly.
Yeah.
Um,
So you can
and you can
understand
do
what's going on.
you can do what's right for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like your feelings are like a barometer of where
Yeah.
you are in your
Where
day-to-day
you are.
life. Everyone tries to experience themselves through their emotions, right? We just talked about this. We're all going through feelings. We're all experiencing our emotions and our feelings every day in our life. So that's how we're experiencing this entire world. Things make
Yes.
us feel things. We look at a sunrise and we feel happy. We look at food and we feel hungry. We
Yee.
look at someone hot and we feel horny. It's just
Yeah.
how we are. And
Yeah.
we're experiencing our life through our emotions right now. But the
Yeah.
first basic step of really understanding what the fuck you're feeling and how the fuck to deal with it is to
Mm-hmm.
recognize what are you feeling. You know,
Yes.
like Kenna just talked about, half the time we don't even know what we're feeling.
Yeah.
You know, I've had moments where I'm like talking to someone and they're like, okay, but what happened? And they're like, I don't know, I don't know what I'm feeling. I just don't know. Like, you don't even have the
Yeah.
words for it. So the first step is to find that awareness, to really figure out what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be confusing to recognize sometimes, but it's our responsibility to ourselves to figure it out, you know. So
Yes.
whether you're feeling like feeling sad because someone said something, or you're feeling irritated because how dare she say that to me, or
Yeah.
angry, or
Or
whatever
someone's
it
feeling
is.
conscious, like not feeling confident enough.
Yeah.
A lot of times people don't feel welcomed. People don't feel a lot of things, and they feel also a lot of things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
first, just try and use this limited vocabulary that we have,
To
and kind of just
recognize.
identify it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we
Mm-hmm.
can start asking other questions that kind of helps us go deeper and deeper and figure out exactly what is the root of that feeling.
Mm-hmm. And so, but like an important thing I feel like to understand is when
Mhm.
you're thinking about these emotions, is that yeah, you're feeling something, so you've recognized what it is, but you need to
Yeah.
understand you're the one who's feeling it. No one
Yes.
else is making you feel this way.
No.
Yes, someone might have said something, but they don't have that power to make you feel something.
Nobody has the power.
You are feeling it. You are making yourself feel it.
Yeah, I
So
have to tell you something on this topic. I
yeah.
have to tell you a very funny story, okay? So, a long time ago, about 10, 15
Okay.
years ago, when my sister got married, I was introduced to her in laws and her
Okay.
family. And she had this sister in law, okay, who I wasn't very fond of. She was
Okay.
just, for whatever reason, okay, I'm not going to get into that, but I wasn't very fond of her. And at that point in time, I was probably at my bitchiest peak.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So I used to always throw real mean comments at her, like backhanded compliments, and just be really, really mean, which
Okay.
normally if I did that to somebody,
You'd be in puddle
it
of
would,
tears.
yeah, it would not be nice.
Yeah.
But there's something that I learned from that chick that day. She did not let my insults, my meanness stick on her. She would laugh it
Mm-hmm.
off. She made me feel completely powerless in terms of insulting her or putting her down or do whatever I was trying to do, being nasty and mean, because she just wouldn't take it. She just wouldn't take it. And it was, I used to at one point get really irritated. And I remember, my
See,
dad
yeah.
noticed it and he pointed out, I was like, you should learn something from her.
Yeah.
You're
She's making you
hypersensitive.
feel, yeah.
Yeah, you should learn something for her. And it was so important. And at that day, I absolutely I slapped myself and I said, I'm going to remember this forever.
Yeah.
It's like
No
nobody
one
can make
makes
you
you feel
feel.
anything. You make yourself feel
Yeah,
things.
that inadequacy is in you
Yeah.
because you feel that. And somebody outside is not going to make you feel something that's not there inside. So that
This
was
um,
really, really important.
this actually reminds me of this story that my guide Dadashiji had once said,
Hmm.
and he was kind of talking about this, and he said, take for example, you're standing here one day and people are just throwing stones at you. They're
Mm-hmm.
throwing stones at you, and obviously it's hurting and it's hurting and it's hurting, and people are throwing stones at you. One thing you can do is that, you can hold their hand and you can be like, listen, you shouldn't do this. Is this the only way to act? Is
Mm-hmm.
this what you're supposed to do with someone? You should stop.
Yeah.
This is not a right thing to do. Or another path that you can take is to just make yourself like so that you don't even experience that the hit of that stone.
Mm-hmm.
Just make yourself so strong that you don't even feel it.
Yeah.
So you have that power to do that.
Yeah. Build
You
inner
can't
strength.
change anyone else. You
No,
can't
you
make
can't.
someone stop and be like, listen, you shouldn't say that. That's really rude. This is an insecurity. You don't know that this is what hurts me. But you can work on yourself and you can make it so that those words don't even hurt you. You can make it so that that rock does not hit you and sting you.
Yes.
So that's like one story I've actually always carried with me.
Yes.
And it's really hard to implement, but it's important to keep checking yourself every single time this happens.
Yeah.
So
It's really difficult to take the onus for who you are and what
yeah.
you are, right? Like I remember I used to be a queen of this, pointing fingers. Always pointing fingers, right? And yeah, it's a loss of power, and not the power, the ego power, but the loss of power is that what you're feeling, who you are, how you are, you leave it to somebody else. Why
Yeah.
would you do that? And then, I mean, you are never going to have any type of even keel feeling within you, or have any sense of control over your life or direction or focus or anything, if you're constantly dictated by people and their inputs from the outside.
Mhm.
So it's very, very important to take this onus that yes, it is me who's making me feel this way.
Yeah.
So that shift, when that comes, it changes a lot.
So how can like you just said, it's really hard to do. How can we actually start doing it? How can we start experiencing that shift within us? I think at least in my experience, the how I started taking onus and realizing that all of this was basically on me and I should get my shit together
Yes.
was when I started asking why I was feeling the way I was feeling.
Okay.
Like, okay, I'm irritated right now, or I'm feeling lonely right now, or I'm sad and
Okay.
I'm crying right now, or like whatever it is you're feeling, fine,
Uh-huh.
you identified it. But now it's like, okay, why am I feeling this way? You know?
Yes.
And there's various reasons. There's a spectrum of reasons. The first obviously is like, okay, someone said this to me, or
Yes.
this happened, or whatever.
Yes.
But then there's there's more to that.
There's normally triggers, right? There's
Yeah.
external triggers and internal triggers as to why. So there could be multiple of things from the outside that are happening, but they're just catalysts. They're just
Yeah.
there. They're just being, like we cannot control all these factors outside. They're triggering something that is there, that's hurt in us, that the pain is
Yeah.
already there in us, and we have like nicely stored it and saved it away.
Yeah.
So the why is normally a trigger, but the
Yeah.
real why, the actual why, we will then later explore. It fundamentally will come down to one
Yeah.
simple thing.
So then so basically what you're saying is that there's like you said trigger. So maybe it's like an external trigger where okay, this person said this to me, or this one
Or it's
screamed
a
at me,
cloudy
or they
day.
broke up with me, or it's just
Yeah.
fucking gloomy outside, or I'm
Yeah.
stuck in the house, or oh
Yeah.
my god, this song reminds me of my ex, or whatever.
Yes.
So those can be external triggers.
Yes.
And then I think the next level you're talking about is like internal triggers.
Mhm.
Where what exactly is happening within you? Why are you feeling this way? I'm feeling this way because this person said this and I'm insecure about this, so I'm
Yes.
feeling like this.
Yeah.
Like they must have said like, oh, I'm example, oh Ashna, like when did that pimple come on your face, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then so that is the external trigger. Someone mentioned my pimple, but the
Yeah.
internal trigger is that I'm actually insecure about it.
Insecure about it. Yeah.
It's triggering like an insecurity because I'm afraid of not looking good enough or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that is the internal why, I would say.
Yeah.
So I think those are the two why questions we can say. And once you start answering these whys for yourself,
Mhm.
it takes you a little bit step closer to taking onus and also flipping it around and changing
Yes.
changing how you're feeling about each
Yeah,
situation.
flip that bitch.
Yeah. But again, super hard to do. So I know we're like saying this shit.
You have to practice it.
Yeah.
Nobody's mastering it. Neither you nor me or anybody
Yeah,
else
no,
over
no.
here is
Not
mastering
at all.
it. It is a process, and it's a
Mhm.
process that you have to kind of enjoy it. Okay, because if you don't enjoy this process of kind of going into the why and wanting to take the onus and taking that step, either you take the pains, what you quote unquote feel the pain of taking the onus, either you
Yeah.
feel that pain and progress, or you feel the pain of being other people's bitch all the time and
Yeah.
feeling shit because
Shit,
somebody
when
said
anyone
something to
says
you.
anything,
Yeah.
and you're just
And then
you're
you
just
feel
at the
that
beck and
pain.
call of someone's words and actions.
Yeah, exactly. So your choice is to feel that pain and just be stuck, or if you're feeling this pain of taking the onus, but at least
Then
you
you
will
move
grow.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll move on, you'll come stronger. So either way, yeah, it's an ouchie, but get over it.
Get over it. We talked about what,
Mhm.
but we also talked about that it can be hard to identify that what.
The why, yeah.
Then we talked about why, but we also talked
Mm.
about how that it can be hard to identify the why.
Yes.
But then now we need to figure out how can we
Handle these
figure
two.
out this what, how can we figure out this why, and also
Yes.
how we can turn this shit around and make it so that this shit isn't hurting us anymore.
It works for us.
Take emotion, take control of our emotions.
Yes.
And
I don't know if we can control them, but we can at least start observing them.
observing them.
Observing
Yeah.
them. Let's start with observing them.
Yeah.
Observing
Little
them.
by little, they don't get the better of you so often,
Yeah, and in that
yeah.
magnitude. So I'm still a crazy bitch, and I
Yeah.
have flipped my lid. But the magnitude, the intensity it happens, the length of time it happens, so everything is kind of coming down,
coming
little bit. Yeah. So that really, really helps a lot. So let's deep dive into this. How?
Yeah.
How are we going to do this? So
For me, like I'll tell you, like from my own personal experience, how this whole thing started to kind of get better for me.
yeah.
And literally the gist of it for me was self-talk in all of it.
Explain self-talk. Basically,
Yeah, so I'll give you an
crazy
example. I'll give you an
chick.
example of when I even crazy chick talking to myself.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm what a better person
Yeah.
to talk to than myself.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you that I clearly remember the day like this all started. Like I said, I had a very rocky teenage
Yeah. Growing pains
life,
years.
growing
Yeah.
pains, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was extremely lonely. I was depressed. I was just going through a very, very, very hard time, and I was just down in the dumps. And this was also the same time that my high school boyfriend had broken up with me. So it was just like, fuck you.
No, I'm really feeling bad.
So it just became like, it was like everything just became like 100 times worse.
Okay.
It was it was a really bad situation that I was in, and I was finding it really hard to pull myself out of it. I was just sinking lower and lower and lower and lower. And I still remember this one day, it was like in the middle of the afternoon, and I was just, all I used to do at that point was sleep. But I was just in bed, and I remember like I was kind of crying, and then I thought to myself, I think I was like, you know what, Ashna, why the fuck are you feeling this way? You don't deserve to be feeling this way. I get that you're feeling it, but what did you do to be like sitting and crying through life and not having fun and not being happy? You did nothing to deserve this.
Yeah.
You can do better. Do better. Be better.
Yeah.
You got this. And like that was my first moment. It was like, okay, I'm gonna pick myself up.
Woohoo.
So that was like the moment of that self-talk where I realized the power of that.
Yeah.
And since then, whenever it's like I'm going through something and I can't figure out like what the hell I'm feeling, or I'm like I'm trying to figure out why I'm feeling something, or I figure it out, but I'm like, okay, you can do better than this. I talk to myself. I'm like,
self-talk is so important.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, Ashna, what is this? Like, one second, figure this out. Okay, you're feeling this, you're feeling that, you're feeling that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but at least somewhere there's some kind of like resolution.
Some shift will come.
Some shift is happening. Yeah. And even with the why, but especially the turning around of it, like we said, the how to turn around of it, it has helped me so much with that. Where I'm like, okay, Ashna, it's just in your head. It's okay. Like you can do better. It's
Yeah.
fine. There's nothing you can do to change the situation now. Let's move on.
Yeah. You
Be
can
better
figure
next
out a
time.
different approach.
This is what's hurting you right now. So
Yeah.
remember that don't do this next time. Or
Yeah.
be better next time. Or stay away
Mm-hmm.
from the situation next time. So
Mm-hmm.
that really, really, really helped me. So self-talk has been my solution.
Yeah.
Maybe it could work for you, maybe it could work
Yeah.
for others, but
Yeah.
that's just been my thing.
Yeah. Self-talk essentially is, I mean, whether you realize it or not, you're trying to connect to your higher self, your higher intelligent,
Yeah.
self, that and you connect with that. And that is what self-talk is. And it
Hmm.
really, really helps, because if you see deep down inside, the all the answers that we seek out there in the universe, the answers are already within us. It's just that
Yeah.
we have to get to a state where we are ready enough to retrieve that data from ourselves, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
apply it or implement it or whatever it is. But it's really, really much there. And the other thing is that, what we are talking about, sometimes you need some help, and it's very, very important to identify. So you can like speak to a friend, and kind of express and kind of talk yourself through that. There's lots of people can seek therapy. There's lots of groups out there. You can write your thoughts down.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people write their thoughts down. It kind of gives you an opportunity to kind of reflect, to see what the
Yeah.
fuck you're
Yeah.
writing and
Yeah. So
feeling.
I think that, like, because self-talk at the end of the day is expression. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm a very me kind of person, so talking to myself works. But for some,
Very me kind of person. I know
whatever
what you
that means,
mean.
whatever that
I,
means. But
me,
like,
myself, and I kind of
always.
person.
But for
Okay.
someone else, it might be like their best friend, or like you
Yeah.
said, a therapist, someone who
Yeah.
knows and is a neutral person, or
Yeah.
writing, or
Mm.
um, all of that. I mean, I would actually recommend something really, really useful, and I know has helped a lot of people.
A lot of people, yes.
Yeah, it's this offering called ILU. It's called I Listen You.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically a completely free offering where you can book a session with a listener,
Yeah.
and you just get on this session with them, and you can just completely express yourself.
Yes.
Just say whatever the hell you want, and they will just listen to you without any judgment. They're just here for you.
Yeah,
So
they're
it
active
just
listeners.
Mm-hmm. So they help.
Yeah.
So what this helps is for you to come to your own conclusions. Your like resolve your
Yeah.
own thoughts in your head. For you
Yeah.
to empty yourself out a little bit. For
Yeah.
you to just feel lighter and better, and know that someone's out there listening without any judgment. Because sometimes we feel judged. Like sometimes I don't even want to call up my best friend and say this because I'm just like, what is she gonna think?
Yeah. Yeah.
But these people are just there just to listen to you and be there for you.
Yeah, and a lot of times, to be very honest, especially nowadays, and since the past few years, to be honest, people don't have anyone to express to. And a lot of times, even if there's something in my head and it's like really bothering me, and it's really upsetting me, once you express it to someone, the charge of it kind of dissipates. It's
Yeah.
gone. It kind of loses its power. So a
Yeah.
lot of times we just need somebody to hear us out. That's such a
Yeah.
human need, for somebody to hear us out. And nowadays it's not happening. And
Yeah.
that is why there's lots of emotions, and a lot of pain is turning into suffering. A lot of pain is turning into depression, is because of this expression is not happening.
Yeah.
So express yourself.
This is actually like where you said that this charge just goes away. This happens to me a
Hmm.
lot. I'm also kind of a short-tempered person. So I mean, sometimes I'll be like working and someone's just getting on my nerves, and if I've had moments where I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so fucking annoyed right now. I need to get
Hmm.
on a call with this person or
Hmm.
whatever, and I'll like call up a friend, or I'll just like walk into my mom's room and I'll just be like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Like, are people
Yeah.
stupid? Like, how dare whatever? And I'll just go like back to my work, and it'll be all good. It's all
Yeah.
fine. It's all resolved. You just had to get it out. You just had to get it out of your system.
Yeah.
And so that's why expression is so necessary.
It is very necessary. And a lot
It's
of
kind
times
of,
you
yeah.
will hear yourself. I have caught myself. I have like expressed to a friend or to my husband, and then I'll be like, Like, when you
But
hear
oh shit.
yourself say something, then you realize what a real dickhead you are. And and it's good. It's a
You just
very
check,
good
puts you
aha
in check.
moment. Yeah, it keeps you in check because, and it will kind of allow you to remove yourself from you and just hear yourself. And then you are like, aha.
Okay, maybe I'm the one who needs to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And, more often than not, that's like, often that's the
Often, yeah.
case. Yeah. And once you get that off your chest and once you express that, a lot of it kind of simmers down and things become clearer, easier. Maybe not by doing it once or twice. Maybe if it's really intense, you have to do it a couple of times. Maybe you will need
Yeah.
professional therapy help or something. The point is to take the onus and take the steps, focus on it. Okay, because wherever you focus, always remember, wherever you're focusing, if you're focusing on someone's bitchiness towards you, or people being negative towards you, or doing this to you and doing that to you and making you feel this way, that's where the energy will go. More people will come up and be like that to you. If your focus is on yourself internally and see what changes or what little adjustments, nicks and crannies over there that you need to clean, then that's much better.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's
I
where
think
you sustain your power.
so I think like that's we were talking about we were talking about expression. We were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
We were talking about the emotions and feelings and how they're all um, energy at the end of the day, right? And so, like I said, we're all these like balls of energy that are already full in itself. So when we take in energy,
Absorb, yeah.
when we absorb energy and we feel it, it also has to leave us.
Yeah.
Because we can't take any more energy. So that's why expression is super important. So when this energy doesn't get expressed out, whether it's talking to someone or it's painting or it's going boxing and punching a bag or whatever the hell you want to do, when it doesn't get pushed back out in the form of energy, then it impacts us. Like, it impacts our mental and physical well-being. That's why you see how it physically manifests with like when you feel like like heaviness in your shoulders because you're stressed, or all these physical ailments and diseases, and like
you
all kinds of crap happens.
indigestion and acidity and
Yeah.
headaches, and you got too much gas. I don't know
All
what
of
all
it.
people. Yeah, all of it is because your body is not at ease, and that's why you're feeling this happening and manifesting on the physical level. So believe it or not, it's all connected and it is going to impact you. So when you express, when you express and when you let go of things, it kind of helps you and helps you a lot.
Yeah.
And always remember, wherever the focus goes, energy flows.
So let's focus on good things.
Yes, always focus on good things in each and every situation. Now, I'm a complete, I don't mind being a slave to this thought that wherever you focus, and when you focus on the positive, there's positive in every single situation in life. It's up to you whether you want to see it or not. And if you don't want to see it, that means, okay, it's going to be pain anyways, right? It's going to be a pain you're going to be stuck with.
So it all depends on us where we focus. So again, it all starts and begins with you. We kind of, we talked about the why of our feelings. So we talked about the internal why, which is that this situation is making you feel insecure, or this situation is making you feel lonely, or it's making you feel irritated and angry, or it's hurting your ego somewhere, or whatever the hell it might be. But there's like a bigger why to this, right? Like, why is it making you feel insecure? Where is this insecurity coming from? Where is this loneliness coming from? Where is this anger coming from? Where is this ego and jealousy coming from? So
what is that one thing it all culminates to?
So stay tuned to really understand what the hell we even mean by that. And we'll get more into it and start to pull it apart. That. And you'll understand it.
See you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.